I graduated from college about 10 months ago with a degree in psychology, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, has been incredibly useful in helping me land a real career. That's sarcasm, by the way. I'm still living with my parents, and the best I've been able to do is deliver food for DoorDash and Grubhub, so I'm crushing it. In the meantime, I'm out driving 4 or 5 nights a week, sometimes pulling in 150 a night if I'm lucky and the tips are good. It's not a career, but it pays for gas and gives me some spending money while I send out resumes to jobs that never call me back. I usually work Thursday through Sunday from about 5 p.m. until midnight or 1 a.m., depending on how many orders are coming through. That's when people are ordering dinner or late night food, and the delivery fees make it worth the drive. It's not technically a night shift, but it feels like one when I'm out there alone. This happened 3 weeks ago. It was a Thursday night, maybe around 10:30, and I was about to head home for the night when one more order came through. Chinese food from Golden Dragon. The pickup was easy enough, but when I looked at the delivery address, something felt weird about it. It was way out past the normal delivery zone, like 15 miles outside of town, down a rural highway I'd only driven on once or twice. I almost declined it, but the payout was $32 for one order. That's crazy money for a single delivery. The customer I was delivering to was listed as David M., and there was just an address. I picked up the food and started driving. The first 10 miles were normal, just the highway with the occasional gas station or house. But after I turned off onto County Road 47, things got darker. There are no streetlights, no houses, just trees on both sides in this winding 2-lane road that seemed to go on forever. My GPS kept telling me I was getting closer, but I wasn't seeing any driveways or mailboxes. After about 20 minutes of driving, I was starting to think I'd taken a wrong turn, but then I saw a kid in my headlights. He was standing on the side of the road, maybe 10 or 11 years old, wearing a red hoodie and jeans. I slowed down because, what else was I going to do? There's a kid standing alone in the middle of nowhere at 11 p.m. I pulled over and rolled down my window. The kid walked up to my car, and that's when I got my first bad feeling. He wasn't crying or scared or anything you'd expect from a kid who was lost. He said his dog ran off into the woods and he couldn't find it, and he asked if I could help him look. I told him I was working and needed to deliver this food, but I'd call someone for him. I pulled out my phone to dial 911, but he immediately said no, don't call anyone. He said his dad would be really mad if he knew the dog got loose, and he just needed help finding it real quick. I looked past him down the road and saw a mailbox about 50 yards ahead. The address on it was the one I was supposed to deliver to. Is that your house? I asked, pointing at the mailbox. He turned to look, then back at me and said yes. So why don't you go get your dad to help you find the dog? He didn't answer right away, just stared at me with this blank expression. Then he said, he's not home. Then who ordered the food? The kid didn't say anything. We just looked at each other. Then he smiled. Can you please help me find my dog? He said again. I didn't answer. I just put my window up and drove forward to the mailbox. The house number matched the delivery address, but I couldn't see a house anywhere. Just a long gravel driveway that disappeared into the trees. I sat there for a minute trying to decide what to do. I looked in my rearview mirror and the kid was not there anymore. I grabbed my phone and called the customer. It rang 6 times and went to voicemail. A generic automated voice, not even a personal greeting. I sent a text. I'm here with your food, but I don't see your house. Can you come out to the road? The customer did not respond. I waited 5 minutes, and then I decided to just leave the food by the mailbox, take a photo as proof of delivery, and get out of there. As I was setting the bag down, I noticed that there were other bags there, old ones from different restaurants. A McDonald's bag that looked like it had been there for days. A Pizza Hut box that was falling apart from rain damage. 3 or 4 other delivery bags. My hands started shaking. I took my photo and got back in my car as fast as I could. As I was pulling away, I looked down the driveway one more time, and I saw lights way back in the trees. The lights looked like flashlight beams, moving around like people were walking through the woods. I drove away faster than I should have on that dark road. When I got back to town, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was really wrong. I kept thinking about that kid, about those old delivery bags, about the flashlights in the woods. I should have called the police right then, but I didn't. The delivery I'd had, he got this serious look on his face and asked me where it was. When I told him County Road 47, he nodded like he knew exactly what I was talking about. He said he'd gotten an order to that same address about a month ago. Same thing, crazy high payout for a single delivery, way out in the middle of nowhere. He said when he got there, there was a woman, not a kid, standing by the road saying her car broke down and asking if he could give her a ride to the nearest gas station. He said something felt off, so he just left the food by the mailbox and drove away. When he checked the app later, the order had been canceled and refunded. I checked my app. My order had been canceled too, 2 days after I delivered it. That's when I decided I needed to do something stupid. I drove back out there. It was the middle of the day this time, around 2 p.m. on a Saturday, and I brought my friend Marcus with me. I told him everything, and he thought I was being paranoid, but he came anyway. When we got to the mailbox on County Road 47, the old delivery bags was not there. Someone had cleaned them up. There was just my bag from 3 days ago. Marcus wanted to go back, said there was nothing to see, and I was freaking out over nothing, but I convinced him to drive down the driveway just a little bit. We went slowly, maybe 50 feet down the gravel drive. There was no house. The driveway just ended in a clearing surrounded by trees. It was just an empty clearing with tire tracks and footprints everywhere in the dirt. Maybe the house burned down or something, Marcus said, but I didn't think so. The tracks looked fresh. We got out of the car to look around and Marcus found something at the edge of the clearing. It was an iPhone, pretty new, lying in the grass. The screen was cracked, but it still turned on. It was locked, but the wallpaper was visible. A photo of a young woman, maybe early 20s with dark hair. I tried random passcodes, but nothing worked. Marcus said we should take it to the police, let them deal with it. As we were walking back to the car, I heard something. It was coming from the woods, maybe 100 yards away. Voices of people talking, but I couldn't make out words. Just the sound of multiple people having a conversation somewhere in the trees. We should go, Marcus said. And for once, I agreed with him immediately. We got in the car and drove out of there. When we got back to town, we went straight to the police station. We told them everything, showed them the phone, gave them the address. The officer who took our report seemed interested at first, but then he looked up the address in their system. He said the property belonged to a David Morrison, had been in his family for 40 years. He said they'd had complaints about that property before. People claiming they'd seen suspicious activity, heard screams, found weird things in the woods, but every time they sent someone out there to investigate, they didn't find evidence of any crime. No one living there, just empty land. He said they'd go check it out again, but he didn't sound optimistic. That was 2 weeks ago. I've checked the local news every day since then, but there was no reports of missing delivery drivers, no updates about the property, but here's the thing that keeps me up at night. I went back through my old deliveries in the app, and I found 3 other orders from the past 6 months that went to that same address or addresses nearby on County Road 47. I don't remember those deliveries at all. I don't remember what happened with them, who I saw, anything. But they're all in my history, and they're all canceled and refunded, just like the one with the kid. I asked the other driver if he remembered any other deliveries out that way. He said he'd had 5 or 6 over the past year, all the same setup. High payout, weird address, something off about the person he encountered, and then the order gets canceled afterward. He said he stopped accepting any orders that took him past the town limits after that. Marcus thinks I'm obsessing over nothing. He thinks the phone we found probably belonged to a hiker or someone who just dropped it in the woods, and that the voices we heard were probably hunters or teenagers messing around. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm connecting dots that aren't there, but I can't stop thinking about all of these things.